Every garden pest problem in America has been solved by Southern grandmothers and country women for 200 years, using ingredients from the kitchen pantry, long before commercial chemical insecticides ever existed. The combinations are real, the techniques are proven, and the savings versus commercial pest sprays compound dramatically across a single growing season. A bottle of garden insecticide at the chain garden center runs $10 to $20 and lasts only a few weeks. The same coverage made from ingredients you already have in your kitchen runs essentially $0 and can be mixed fresh every time you need it. But here is the part of this video that almost every other gardening channel on YouTube refuses to tell you. Most of what you read online about homemade insecticide is chemically wrong. The most commonly shared recipes combine ingredients in ways that destroy each other before they ever reach the plant, leaving you with a soapy water spray that mostly works because of the soap and not because of the other ingredients you carefully added. I am going to give you the honest chemistry, the corrected recipes that actually work, and the heritage practice that has been used by experienced American women for generations to genuinely handle aphids, whiteflies, mealybugs, red spider mites, ants, and powdery mildew without spending money on commercial products. This video covers everything: exactly which ingredients work, exactly which combinations destroy themselves, exactly when to apply each spray, exactly when to avoid spraying, and exactly how to protect the beneficial insects in your garden that are already eating the pests for you. By the end, you will have 4 different sprays for 4 different pest problems. All of them honest, all of them genuinely useful, and all of them mixed from ingredients you almost certainly already have in your kitchen right now. The order matters. The 2 genuine surprises come later. Stay with me through all 10, because the chemistry honesty alone is worth the entire video, and the final spray is the one your great-grandmother used for the most stubborn pest problems before chemical products ever existed. Before I show you the first one, I want to come back to something many of you have been writing to me about for months now. The gardening guide I have been mentioning at the end of videos. The Plant Once Garden. You have heard me hint at it. You have asked when it is coming. And today I want to tell you more about what is actually inside it, because you have been patient with me, and you deserve to know what you are waiting for. Approximately 150 pages of everything this channel has been teaching, gathered into one complete reference, designed with a hand-drawn heritage cover and warm cream pages that feel like a guide your grandmother would have owned. Inside it, 90 perennial plants that come back every year with almost no labor. 6 complete garden plans you can hand to a landscaper or plant yourself. The no-labor planting calendar. The hydrogen peroxide method explained completely. The shrubs that bring cardinals to your kitchen window. The chapter on what your garden becomes over 20 years of careful planting. The mistakes that kill perennials and how to avoid them, and the closing pages on the heritage of American gardening that has been almost lost in the last 60 years. The guide is genuinely coming. I am taking my time to get it right, because you deserve a reference you can lean on through every season for the rest of your gardening life. When it is ready, you will be the first to know. Now back to the garden. Let's start with the chemistry honesty. The most commonly shared homemade insecticide recipe on the internet combines baking soda, vinegar, hot pepper, and dish soap into a single spray. Almost every gardening blog and YouTube video has shared some version of this recipe at some point, often presented as a miracle pest killer that handles every problem in the garden. The recipe does kill some pests, but not for the reasons most of those videos claim. And combining the ingredients this way destroys more than half of what each ingredient could do on its own. Here is what actually happens chemically when you combine baking soda and vinegar. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, a chemical base. Vinegar is acetic acid in water, a chemical acid. When you mix a base and an acid together in solution, they neutralize each other, producing sodium acetate, a neutral salt, and water and carbon dioxide gas. The bubbling you see when you pour vinegar onto baking soda is exactly this reaction happening. The 2 ingredients are actively destroying each other and releasing the energy as gas. Once the bubbling stops, you no longer have baking soda or vinegar in your container. You have sodium acetate in soapy water. The implication for garden use matters enormously. The baking soda was supposed to help control fungal diseases like powdery mildew, which it genuinely can do when used alone. The vinegar was supposed to help dissolve insect cuticles and kill soft-bodied pests, which it genuinely can do when used alone. When you combine them, neither does its intended job. The chemicals have neutralized each other before the spray ever touches a plant. The only ingredients still doing real work in the combined spray are the dish soap, which smothers soft-bodied insects on contact, and the hot pepper, which deters some mammals and a few insects through capsaicin irritation. The honest path forward. Each ingredient genuinely works for specific pest and disease problems when used correctly and not combined incorrectly. The 4 sprays I am about to give you separate these ingredients into the combinations that actually work. 3 of them are the foundational workhorses that handle 90% of common American garden pest problems. The 4th one is the upgrade spray for stubborn problems that the simpler sprays cannot solve. All 4 are honest, all 4 are mixed from kitchen ingredients, and all 4 cost essentially nothing per application. Spray number 1, the foundational workhorse of organic pest control. Dish soap and water. This is the single most useful spray in all of organic gardening, the technique that genuinely handles most soft-bodied insect problems in American home gardens, and the spray that almost every other ingredient on the internet pest control list is actually relying on to do the real work. Here is how dish soap kills insects. Soft-bodied insects, aphids, whiteflies, mealybugs, scale insects in their crawler stage, thrips, and spider mites, have soft, permeable outer cuticles that allow them to breathe through their skin. When dish soap solution contacts these insects, the soap molecules disrupt the cuticle and block the breathing structures, called spiracles, on the insect's body. The insect suffocates within hours of contact. The mechanism is genuinely effective and well documented in entomological research. Dish soap does not poison insects. It physically blocks their respiration, which is why hard-bodied beetles and adult insects with thicker exoskeletons are less affected. The formula: 1 tablespoon of liquid dish soap mixed into 1 quart of plain water in a spray bottle. Use a mild liquid dish soap without antibacterial additives, without strong perfumes, and without bleach. The classic Dawn dish soap, the original blue formula, works well, as do the various Castile soap products, and any unscented mild dish soap available in the grocery store. Avoid the foaming hand soaps, and avoid anything labeled as antibacterial. These contain additional chemicals that can harm plant tissue. Application: spray the solution directly onto the visible insects, paying particular attention to the undersides of leaves where aphids and whiteflies cluster, the tender new growth at the tips of stems where pests congregate, and any leaf surfaces showing visible insect activity. The spray must directly contact the insects to work. Soap residue on the plant does not kill insects that arrive later. This means thorough coverage of the affected plant parts is essential. Apply in the late afternoon or early evening when direct sun has passed, never during the heat of the day when the soap can burn leaf tissue. Cost reality: a bottle of commercial insecticidal soap at a garden center runs $8 to $15. The homemade equivalent uses approximately a quarter teaspoon of dish soap per quart of water, which means a single bottle of dish soap from the grocery store provides enough material for dozens of garden applications across multiple growing seasons. The savings versus commercial insecticidal soap compound dramatically over the years. Spray number 2. Hot pepper deterrent spray. The traditional ingredient added to dish soap sprays to extend the protection from insects already on the plant to insects considering arriving on the plant. Hot pepper does not kill insects effectively, but it does deter many of them from feeding on treated foliage and from laying eggs on treated plants. Here is how capsaicin works on pests. Capsaicin is the compound in hot peppers that produces the burning sensation when humans eat them. Insects and mammals have similar pain receptors, and exposure to capsaicin produces an unpleasant response that causes them to avoid treated surfaces. Aphids exposed to capsaicin-treated foliage feed less actively and reproduce more slowly. Mammals like rabbits, deer, and squirrels actively avoid treated plants. The mechanism is deterrent rather than killing, which is why hot pepper alone is not a complete pest control solution, but is an excellent addition to the soap spray that kills the insects already present. The formula: 1 tablespoon of liquid dish soap, 1 teaspoon of finely ground cayenne pepper or hot chili powder, mixed into 1 quart of warm water. Stir thoroughly to dissolve the soap and suspend the pepper powder. Let the mixture sit for 10 minutes to allow the capsaicin to leach into the water. Strain the mixture through a fine mesh strainer or cheesecloth before transferring to a spray bottle. Undissolved pepper particles will clog the spray nozzle and prevent application. The straining step is essential. Application: same as the dish soap spray. Late afternoon or evening, thorough coverage of affected plants and surrounding plants for deterrent protection. The combination of soap, killing, plus capsaicin, deterring, extends the practical protection significantly compared to soap alone. Reapply every 5 to 7 days during active pest pressure, and after every rainfall, which washes away the residue and requires fresh application. Important handling note: wear gloves when mixing and applying hot pepper spray. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth during application. The capsaicin can cause significant discomfort if it contacts mucous membranes or sensitive skin. Wash your hands thoroughly with soap and cold water after handling the mixture. Hot water actually opens skin pores and worsens any residual capsaicin contact, while cold water seals the pores and reduces the burning sensation. We are 2 sprays in, and the next one is the first of the 2 genuine surprises in this video. It is the corrected baking soda spray, used by itself rather than incorrectly combined with vinegar, that genuinely handles powdery mildew, black spot, and other common fungal diseases that almost no other homemade preparation can address. Spray number 3, and here is the first genuine surprise of this entire video: the baking soda fungicide spray used correctly, which means used by itself with water and a mild surfactant, never combined with vinegar or other acids that would neutralize it. This is the heritage spray that genuinely handles powdery mildew on phlox, roses, lilacs, and cucurbits, black spot on roses, and several other common American garden fungal problems. The spray actually works when prepared correctly, and almost every internet recipe that combines it with vinegar destroys the entire reason it would work. Here is how baking soda controls fungal diseases. Sodium bicarbonate raises the pH of the leaf surface, creating mildly alkaline conditions that inhibit fungal spore germination and slow the growth of established fungal infections. Most plant pathogenic fungi prefer slightly acidic to neutral conditions, and the alkaline shift caused by baking soda residue creates an unfavorable environment for fungal establishment and reproduction. The effect is genuinely real, well documented in horticultural research, and forms the basis of several commercial fungicide products that use the same active ingredient. The corrected formula: 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 quart of warm water, a few drops of liquid dish soap, or 1 teaspoon of horticultural oil as a sticking agent. Do not add vinegar. Do not combine with any acid. Stir until the baking soda dissolves completely. Pour into a spray bottle. Application: spray onto plants showing early signs of fungal disease. Small white powdery patches on leaves indicating powdery mildew. Small black spots on rose leaves indicating black spot. Fuzzy gray patches on flower buds indicating gray mold. Cover all leaf surfaces, including the undersides where many fungal infections begin. Reapply every 7 to 10 days during periods of high humidity when fungal diseases typically develop. The spray is preventative as well as treatment for early infections. Applied before disease appears on susceptible plants like roses and phlox, it significantly reduces the establishment of fungal infections. Honest limits: baking soda spray prevents and slows fungal diseases, but does not cure established severe infections. A rose that already has heavy black spot infection covering most of its leaves will not recover from baking soda spray alone. The spray prevents new infection, but cannot eliminate established fungal mycelium in tissue that is already damaged. For severe infections, prune away the infected tissue, dispose of it, do not compost, and spray the remaining healthy growth weekly to prevent reinfection. Combined with the watering practices and pruning that actually drive fungal disease prevention, baking soda spray is genuinely effective. Standing alone as a cure for severe infections, It has real limits and is not a miracle. Spray number 4. The corrected vinegar spray. Briefly mentioned here because I covered it in detail in my recent video on vinegar in the garden. The vinegar spray uses 1 gallon of white vinegar mixed with 2 tablespoons of liquid dish soap, with absolutely no salt added. This formula kills the top growth of weeds in cracks of walkways, patios, and driveways. Do not add salt to vinegar weed killer. The salt permanently contaminates soil and damages anything you try to grow there for years afterward. This is the same critical correction I made in the vinegar video, repeated here because the salt-vinegar combination is one of the most commonly shared incorrect garden recipes on the internet, and every American gardener deserves the honest information. Vinegar weed killer is separate from the insect sprays in this video. Vinegar does not work as an effective insecticide despite many internet claims. The acid is too weak at household concentrations to penetrate insect cuticles reliably, and the same acidity that fails to kill insects will burn plant leaves when sprayed during sunny conditions. Use vinegar for weed control on hard surfaces, not for insect control on plants you want to keep alive. Now let me explain in more detail why the baking soda and vinegar combination destroys both ingredients. Because this is the single most important piece of chemistry honesty in this video. Once you understand this, you will never make the mistake again, and you will recognize internet pest spray recipes that should not be trusted. The chemistry. Sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, is a weak base. Acetic acid, vinegar, is a weak acid. When you combine them, the acid and the base undergo a neutralization reaction. They react with each other to produce a salt, sodium acetate, water, and carbon dioxide gas. This is a basic chemistry reaction that happens every time an acid meets a base, and you have probably seen it without realizing what was happening. Pouring vinegar onto baking soda to clean a drain produces the same reaction. Mixing baking soda into vinegar for any purpose produces the same reaction. The bubbling you see is the carbon dioxide gas escaping, and the bubbling continues until either the acid or the base runs out, at which point the reaction stops. Why this matters for garden sprays. Once the bubbling stops in your spray bottle, you no longer have baking soda or vinegar. You have sodium acetate dissolved in water, plus whatever other ingredients you added. Dish soap, hot pepper. The sodium acetate has none of the antifungal properties of baking soda. It has none of the acidic properties that would have made vinegar useful for anything. The two ingredients have actively destroyed each other before the spray ever touched a plant. Whatever results you saw from spraying that mixture came from the dish soap, which works regardless of what else is in the bottle, and the hot pepper, which works regardless of what else is in the bottle. The honest takeaway: every internet recipe that combines baking soda and vinegar in the same spray is chemically wrong. The recipe might still kill some insects because the dish soap is still doing its job, but the baking soda and vinegar specifically are not contributing anything useful. If you want the antifungal benefits of baking soda, use it alone with water and a surfactant. If you want the weed-killing benefits of vinegar, use it alone with water and dish soap. Combining them destroys both. Tell yourself the truth. Separate the ingredients into the sprays that actually work, and you will get genuinely better results from your home pest control practice. Application timing. The single most important practice that determines whether your homemade sprays work effectively or burn your plants. Every spray in this video must be applied at the correct time of day, and the wrong timing can damage your plants worse than the pests would have. The late afternoon and evening rule. Apply all homemade sprays after the direct sun has left the plants you are treating. The combination of moisture on the leaves and direct sun produces a magnifying glass effect that can scorch leaf tissue, especially with soapy and acidic sprays. Late afternoon, after 4 p.m. during American summer, is the earliest acceptable application time. Evening just before sunset is ideal. Early morning before the sun rises high in the sky is also acceptable. The middle of the day, between roughly 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., is absolutely the wrong time to spray. Temperature matters. Avoid spraying when temperatures will exceed 85 degrees Fahrenheit within the next several hours, regardless of whether the sun is direct. The combination of heat and soapy or acidic moisture on leaves causes burn damage even without direct sunlight. During American summer heat waves, plan all spray applications for evenings when overnight temperatures will drop below 75 degrees. Weather considerations. Do not spray when rain is forecast within the next 12 hours. The rain will wash away the spray residue before it has time to work, wasting your effort. Do not spray when wind is gusting strongly. The spray will drift onto plants you did not intend to treat, including beneficial insects and flowering plants visited by bees. Calm evenings after a day of moderate weather are ideal. Protecting beneficial insects, the single most important consideration in any home pest control practice, and the consideration that almost every internet pest control video ignores entirely. Many of the insects in your American garden are not pests. They are predators that are actively eating the pests for you, and spraying indiscriminately destroys your most valuable allies in the garden. The major beneficial insects in American gardens. Ladybugs, also called ladybird beetles, are the most recognizable beneficial insect, and a single ladybug eats between 50 and 100 aphids per day. Lacewings have larvae that are voracious aphid predators, capable of eating hundreds of aphids each before maturing. Parasitic wasps, small and harmless to humans, despite the name, lay eggs inside pest caterpillars and aphids, eliminating the pests as their offspring develop. Ground beetles eat slugs, snails, and the larvae of many destructive pests. Hoverflies, which look like small bees but cannot sting, have larvae that eat aphids at a remarkable rate. Spiders catch dozens of flying pests every week in their webs. Before you spray, look. Walk around the plants you are planning to treat with a homemade spray and actively look for beneficial insects. If you see ladybugs on aphid-infested foliage, the ladybugs are doing the job for you, and you do not need to spray. Adult ladybugs eat aphids constantly, and a population of ladybugs will typically clear an aphid infestation within a few days without any human intervention. If you spray that same foliage, you will kill the ladybugs along with the aphids, eliminating your future protection. The smarter approach is to leave the natural predators alone and let them work. When the natural predators are not present in sufficient numbers, typically early in the growing season before predator populations have built up, or after a hard winter that reduced predator populations, that is when the homemade sprays in this video are most valuable. Apply them selectively, only on the specific plants showing pest pressure, and only when the natural predators are not already handling the problem. This is the approach experienced American gardeners have used for generations, and it produces far better long-term garden health than indiscriminate spraying. Frequency and application schedule. The honest information about how often each spray needs to be applied and how to recognize when treatment is working. For active infestations, apply the appropriate spray 3 times total, spacing the applications 3 days apart. The 3-day interval matters because most insect life cycles include eggs that hatch within a few days of laying. The first spray kills the visible adults and active feeders. The second spray 3 days later kills the newly hatched insects that were eggs at the time of the first spray. The third spray 3 days after that catches the final wave of newly hatched insects and confirms the population is genuinely under control. Stopping after a single application typically results in the infestation rebounding within a week. For preventative care, apply once per week during the active growing season on the plants most likely to develop pest pressure: vegetable garden plants, roses, hydrangeas, and other prone perennials. The light weekly application discourages pest establishment without significantly disrupting beneficial insect populations. Skip the preventative spray during periods when beneficial insects are actively present and doing the job. Recognizing when treatment is working. Within 48 hours of a soap spray application, visible aphids and other soft-bodied insects should be noticeably reduced. New growth on the plant should appear cleaner and undamaged within a week. The plant's overall vigor should begin recovering visibly within 2 weeks. If you see no improvement after the full 3-application treatment, the pest may be a hard-bodied insect that requires different treatment, or the spray may not be reaching the actual pest location, such as inside curled leaves or beneath bark. Inspect more carefully and adjust your application technique. We are 9 sections in, and the last one is the second of the 2 genuine surprises in this video. the heritage spray that handles the stubborn pest problems the simpler sprays cannot address. This is the spray your great-grandmother used for the most persistent problems, made from 2 ingredients almost every American household had on hand in 1940, and the ingredient at the center of the spray is the one mainstream American gardening culture has almost completely forgotten about. And here is the second genuine surprise of this entire video. The upgrade spray that handles the stubborn pest problems the basic dish soap and pepper sprays cannot solve. Garlic and neem oil. The garlic is the heritage ingredient your great-grandmother almost certainly used. The neem oil is the addition modern American gardeners can purchase inexpensively to dramatically extend the spray's effectiveness against the toughest pests. Garlic alone is genuinely effective. The same ingredient that flavors almost every American cuisine contains naturally occurring compounds, particularly allicin, which is released when garlic is crushed or chopped, that have documented insecticidal and antifungal properties. The traditional formula uses 1 whole head of garlic, about 10 cloves, crushed or finely chopped, steeped in 2 cups of warm water for 24 hours. Strain through cheesecloth, transfer to a spray bottle, dilute with an additional 2 cups of water, and add a teaspoon of dish soap as a surfactant. The resulting spray is genuinely effective against aphids, whiteflies, mealybugs, and several leaf-eating caterpillars. The smell dissipates within an hour of application and is not noticeable to humans after that point. The neem oil upgrade. Neem oil is extracted from the seeds of the neem tree, native to India, and has been used in traditional Indian gardening and herbal practice for over 2,000 years. The oil contains a compound called azadirachtin that disrupts insect feeding and reproduction at very low concentrations, plus several other compounds that work synergistically against a wide range of pests. Neem oil is available at most American garden centers and online for $10 to $15 per bottle, and a single bottle provides material for dozens of applications. The neem oil is the upgrade that makes the garlic spray dramatically more effective against tough pests, including hard-bodied beetles, scale insects in adult stages, and persistent infestations that have resisted simpler treatments. The combined upgrade formula. Prepare the garlic spray as described above. To each quart of finished garlic spray, add 1 tablespoon of neem oil and a teaspoon of dish soap. The soap helps the oil mix with the water rather than separating. Shake vigorously before each application. Apply in the late evening, exactly as described for the simpler sprays. The combination of garlic compounds and neem oil compounds provides broader spectrum pest control than either ingredient alone, and the technique handles the most persistent American garden pest problems. Honest limits and safety. Neem oil is genuinely effective but is not harmless to all insects. It can harm beneficial pollinators, including honeybees, if sprayed directly during their active flying hours. This is why evening application is essential when using neem oil. Bees are not active after sunset, and the oil dries to a residue within a few hours that is significantly less harmful than wet spray. Do not spray neem oil on flowering plants during peak bloom unless absolutely necessary, and never spray it during midday when bees are foraging. With these precautions observed, neem oil is a genuinely useful organic pest control tool for the most stubborn problems. Cost reality. The garlic spray costs essentially nothing if you already have garlic and dish soap in your kitchen. Both ingredients are pantry staples in most American homes. Adding neem oil at $10 to $15 per bottle provides material for dozens of applications across multiple growing seasons. Compared with commercial broad-spectrum garden insecticides at $15 to $30 per bottle that need replacement every season, the homemade upgrade spray costs less over time while providing comparable effectiveness and significantly better safety profile around children, pets, and beneficial wildlife. 10 sections on honest organic pest control. The dish soap spray that genuinely kills soft-bodied insects through a documented physical mechanism. The hot pepper deterrent that extends the protection. The baking soda fungicide used correctly by itself, not destroyed by mixing with vinegar. The vinegar weed killer used separately with no salt. The chemistry honesty about why combining baking soda and vinegar destroys both. The proper application timing. The protection of beneficial insects. The application schedule and recognizing when treatment is working. and the garlic and neem oil upgrade spray for the most stubborn problems. All of it honest, all of it heritage practice modified, with one modern addition, neem oil, that genuinely improves the effectiveness for difficult pests. Here is what I want you to take away from this video more than anything else. The garden chemical industry has trained 2 generations of American homeowners to believe that pest control requires expensive bottled products with complicated names. None of that is true. Soap and water genuinely kill soft-bodied insects. Baking soda alone genuinely prevents and slows fungal diseases. Garlic genuinely deters and kills a wide range of garden pests. These ingredients have been used by Southern grandmothers and country women in this country for over 200 years. They cost essentially nothing per application, and they work when prepared correctly and applied at the right times. The reason you have been told to buy commercial products instead is that there is no profit margin in telling you to use what you already own. Tell yourself the truth. Separate the ingredients into the sprays that actually work. Protect the beneficial insects that are already helping you, and you will get genuinely better long-term garden health than any chemical-intensive approach can provide. Drop a comment below telling me which spray you are going to try first, because I read every comment and your answers help me understand what matters most to you. Tell me if your mother or grandmother used to make her own garden sprays. Those heritage stories from this community are some of the most moving content under any of my videos. Subscribe to this channel for more peer-to-peer gardening content written for women who have been tending gardens for decades and deserve gardening advice calibrated to their actual lives. The garden is yours. Use what your grandmother kept in her kitchen pantry and let it do what it has always done.